Hello everyone, I am Shivam Banka and I'll be going through this case study interview. The video is divided into two parts. In the first part, I'll be going through the interview line by line and present how the interview is being structured and how is it going. In the second part, I'll present the overall analysis of how the interview went. So let's begin. Today we are doing a case study interview of a client who is a beer manufacturer and just for some context, all the text with the blue background is the words spoken by an interviewer, and all the text with the white background and blue text are the words spoken by the candidate. Let's begin. The client is a beer manufacturing company that operates in India. The cost structure for the company is poor compared to the international benchmark, and you have been asked by the client to find out why. Okay, so in this case, in usually any case, the first line is usually the most important one, but we get the final for the first introduction of the client. So it's a beer manufacturer in India. It's cost. So we are directly told that don't focus on the revenue, just focus on the cost. Its cost structure is not as up to as good as what is in the international standards, and we have been asked to identify the reasons of this poor cost structure. Okay, so initially the as all case study interviews go, the starting part will be to understanding client's business more in depth, and that is how it's gonna go from here. Is the problem only on the cost side, or should I also analyze revenue of the company to look for the problem here? So it's a good thing to not assume that only is the problem, even though it's said in the first statement. But it's a good thing to actually confirm your assumptions. No, the problem is only on the cost. Okay, all right. Is the problem with only one specific beer product, or is the problem spread across different products? Additionally, is it an industry-wide problem or a specific to our client? The problem is not limited to one product. In fact, the client is facing problems across many beer products. There is no relevance to the problem being limited to our client or the industry. Okay. Uh, Oh yeah, so the candidate is trying to figure out, is it like company is doing something wrong at the top level, or is it something which a product which is not being able to perform well? Okay, I think it would make sense to break the cost down into the value chain to see where the cost issue lies. Should I go ahead with that the same? Yes, sure, you can do that. One of the most efficient method to be exhaustive in breaking down the cost analysis is just break down the entire value chain of it. I would start by looking into the raw material cost. Are they larger than the industry average? No, the raw material costs are in line with the industry. Okay, next I will look into the processing cost. Have there been an issue out there? Yes. As a matter of fact, our processing costs are higher than the benchmarks. Okay, in that case, I would like to delve deeper into the processing cost. However, before I proceed with the same, I would like to see if this is the only cost head that has an issue. You may proceed with the processing cost. There are no other cost heads where the client is facing a problem. So it's a good technique that if you are not able to recall the entire or come up with the entire value chain of the client's business, you just start with the starting point and keep keep asking the interviewer where the problem lies, so that you don't have to come up with the list and you can find out where the problem is. So our candidate got lucky. The problem was exactly in the second cost chain. But yeah, let's go ahead with the processing cost. Okay. So is the client facing labor or rent issues, or is having an underutilization of capacity? Yes, the client is indeed facing a problem with the utilization of capacity. Okay. How many plants machine does the client own? What is the capacity of each plant or machine? Are we utilizing 100% of the production capacity? The client owns three plants and three machines. The capacity of each plant is 30,000 bottles. Yes, we are able to utilize 100% of the capacity. Okay. So that would mean 10,000 bottles per machine. Uh, are the competitors also producing 30,000 bottles per plant? No, the competitors are able to produce 50,000 to 80,000 bottles per plant. So I think the problem is not that we are not able to use the machines, but there is a wider space available in every plant, and we have installed less machines, and there is space which is not being utilized though. Okay. Is it because the beer machine? Is it because of better beer machines or the number of machines? Okay, so it's a good point. You should also consider that the beer machines could also be more efficient rather than the number of beer machines. Good point to clarify it with the interview rather than assuming. Competitors are competitors are using advanced machine which are able to produce more number of bottles per machine. Okay, how expensive are the advanced machine? Would the labor need special training to operate the same? These machine cost 1.5 times the normal machine and produces twice the amount produced by normal machine. There are no special training requirements to operate the machine. Okay, so now I would want to figure out reasons for not buying high capacity machines. Sure, go ahead. Very interesting point where you are trying to build a case or in a real world case study, not in real world setting with a client, you have to understand the client's reasoning as well, so that when whatever solution you are implementing is tailored to that client, and you are able to convince your solution if you know what was the underlying reason of or what the client did, what he did. I could think of the following reasons. The client can't invest an amount of 1.5 crores at this point of time. Uh, there are some logistic issues associated with installing the machine. The client can invest 1.5 crores, so let's explore the second option. Is it because of the size of the machine or different raw materials requirement? Okay, so the high capacity machine requires larger ground area, which is not possible in the current plant size. Oh, okay. What would you recommend in this case? Makes sense. So I have I have a few questions before I give the recommendations. How many shifts are we operating in, and what is the duration of each shift? We are currently operating in two shifts of 8 hours each. Okay. So in the short term, we can increase the shifts from two to three to increase the capacity of the plant. And in the longer run, we can aim to buy plants which are larger as compared to the existing plants to accommodate high capacity machines. So the recommendations are almost pretty straightforward if you understand the problem. The first recommendation is quite creative that it's going to take time to implement a new plant. So you can increase the shift based on the machine can support running 24 hours a day. So that was a little bit interesting option provided in the recommendation. And I think the case went pretty well. It was well structured. The candidate offered options on each step of the way. And it shows that candidate can think on his feet exhaustively, or if not exhaustively, think of different situations where the problem can occur. And it was pretty good case. It was pretty easy and straightforward, but it was well done. So now we are going to move to the second part of the video where we analyze the case study interview. Okay, the client is a beer manufacturing company that operates in India. The cost structure of the company is poor compared to the international benchmarks, and you have been asked by the client to find out why. Interview notes. So yeah, it's important to maintain a very simple, straightforward note because sometimes after the end of the interview might ask for your notes. Okay, interview notes. Qualitative case, no number provided. A single cost head case where the one issue needs to be identified. The cost problem is identified to be in processing. Either the client cannot invest capital or there are logistic issues in relation to getting advanced machine. Case facts, client is a beer manufacturing company with multiple products. It is facing cost issues with more than one beer product, thus is not a industry-wide problem. Uh, Client has three plants with 30,000 bottle capacities working at 100% utilization. advanced machine cost 1.5 times the normal ones and produce twice as much. Okay, so in this approach, we are using the cost supply chain breakdown, and we then go to the R&D part. We started with raw material, and then processing is where the we figure out the problem was. So we didn't have to go to storage, transportation, distribution, and marketing. In processing, there are two subparts where in machinery or labor there was no issue, but in capacity utilization there was. And we In capacity utilization, either you can increase number of machines or you can use advanced machine. Uh, the machines cannot be increased as the clients was using maximum space it has. So in advanced machine, uh, there could be two reasons where the client is not using advanced machine. Either they don't have capital or they don't have the logistic capacity. So it was the second one that the client didn't have the capacity to accommodate those machines. So once we figure out the problem, then we had moved to recommendations, which is the client should give a candidate should give a combination of short-term and long-term recommendations. It's a pretty good thing that he also gave a short-term recommendation, since long-term is going to take some time. In the short term, the shift can be increased from 2 to 3 to increase the capacity of the plant. In the longer run, the client should aim to buy plants which are larger as compared to the existing plants to accommodate high capacity machines. So, what are the observations? Let's see. This is a cost reduction case where the interviewee should quickly establish a major cost buckets after discussing with the interviewer. The candidate can either probe each bucket along the value chain or ask the interviewer which buckets to look into. Uh, each cost component should be broken down into multiple cost levers to ensure that nothing is being missed out. When analyzing the specific cost bucket, look into its competitor in decreasing order of their magnitude. Pretty interesting observations or suggestions for such kind of problem. That was the case. It was pretty well and short and sweet, and it was pretty straightforward. But it shows it needed candidate to think on its feet of what could be the different situations for all the possible questions asked by the interviewer. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this interview, and do subscribe my channel. I will be uploading one video every day. So you'll have a learning of different industries, one case at a time every day, and it will get you into mindset of how a case study interview goes. So thank you and have a nice day.